Hey there, hope all is well. Back at you today with some more RTD news updates. And as always, if you find today's article to be informative and important, please feel free to share them with our family and friends to help them become more monetarily aware on their money, and particularly in the banking system. And if you're new to RTD, click the subscribe button for more RTD news interviews as well as updates. All right. So today I kind of want to focus on one particular topic, and it happens to be in regards to the banking sector, and it's something that seems to be trending quite well on Twitter. So here I have typed in just the hashtag Tesco Bank, and for those that are not familiar with it, just the first article itself, Tesco Bank, 20,000 customers lose money, according to the BBC. And so as I just scroll through what's going on globally in regards to people commenting and sharing this information, there's different types of news articles going up in comments, and it all has to do with cybersecurity, hacking, money loss, how can it happen, where's my money, all types of things like that. And it just really makes me think about the whole rethinking the dollar concept of how, money nowadays, quote unquote, money is more digital based. And so everyone who has money and actually in a banking institution or financial institution, it's for the most part all digital in the form of, debits and credits on a computer screen, ones and zeros. And then if you would like to go withdraw some of that, then you may be able to get some paper, depending on how much you're trying to get out. And so here, his article here, or post here in regards to Texaco's stock just crashing, all due to the fact that over this past weekend, there was some type of, as they say, hack into the system where 20,000 accounts to our knowledge as of now was impacted in the form of money being withdrawn, all small amounts, and just the fact that it was a small amounts and not just something major, gives me the idea of just, was it something that deliberate just to see how much and how, whoever did it can get away with it, as opposed to just, cleaning out everybody and making this a real major story. But I think it has a lot to do with the idea that in the days ahead, we're going to hear more stories like this. If not, just banks just shutting off all access to cash digitally, especially from ATM machines, as well as going into the stores or the branches and withdrawing money. And so here, just thumbing through, I read a lot of interesting things that has to do with just the need to ramp up security, cybersecurity. I even saw one post where someone said, did Russia do it? So, with all the stuff going on nowadays and tensions being so high globally, I think this story here, which you probably will not hear on mainstream news, is very, is very telling of the times we're in, where, there's sources of information coming from everywhere, and it all has to do with our political and our monetary system. So briefly, I'll just go through this one article and give you some details. And there's also a video here where a guy mentions how he woke up before he went to bed. He got a text message from the bank saying that you've been compromised, and so it stirred some panic in him to where he is saying basically he just really couldn't sleep that well, knowing that he was technically violated as far as having some money taken out of his accounts. It was all small amounts, but imagine if it would have been more, and how he would have really felt if his entire life savings would have been gone just like that, without him even been knowing about it. And then to just to receive a text message from your bank saying, "Hey, sorry, but yeah, your money's not there." So just something to think about. But go through this article briefly. It's entitled "Texaco Bank 20,000 customers lose money." And so just scrolling through, give you an idea of what's happening or what has happened over the weekend and what they're reporting today. It says Tesco Bank has halted online payments for current account customers after money was taken from 20,000 accounts. So right then and there, they decided, hey, anything online, you can't do no more until we kind of sort this out. So bank's chief executive, Benny Higgins, told the BBC he was very hopeful customers would be refunded within 24 hours. I wonder how much money they're going to have to, come out of in order to refund their customers. About 40,000 accounts saw suspicious transactions over the weekend, of which half had money taken, he said. Customers will still be able to use their cards for cash withdrawals, chip and pin payments, and bill payments. The bank is blocking customers from making online payments using their debit card, although transfers between accounts and to other people are still allowed, a spokesperson said. Earlier, the bank confirmed some accounts having been subject to online criminal activity, in some cases resulting in money being withdrawn fraudulently. Mr. Higgins also apologized for the worry and inconvenience that customers have faced. One cybersecurity expert said this could be an unprecedented breach at a British bank. I've not heard of any attack of this nature and scale on a UK bank where it appears that the bank's central system is the target, said Professor Adam Woodward, a security consultant who has worked with Europol Over the weekend, customers complained about money being withdrawn without permission, cards being blocked, and long delays to get through to the bank on the phone. Any financial loss that results from this fraudulent activity will be borne by the bank, Mr. Higgins said. Customers are not at financial risk. Right. And so here's the thing. If customers are not at financial risk, how do you explain, sending someone a text message, letting them know that there's been some fraudulent type of activity on their account, and then their cards to be cut off. So if they needed to pay a bill online, they couldn't do it. So there's all, measures that will cause someone to freak out. And this is just one isolated event. So here we have this guy here. I'll play this video for you and just get his take. And this is the guy who got a text message.
I'm a Tesco Bank customer. I received a text message last night at about 11:15 saying that there'd been fraud on my account. We were literally about to go to bed. And so you jump into action, and I ended up going onto the computer, finding out that the telephone number was genuine. And when we made the call, we realised we were going to be in for a long wait. We sat on the internet and had a look, and I realised that 2 of my bank accounts had money taken out, one for a larger figure of £500, one for a figure of £20. We can't actually see what that's for because they're supposed to be pending payments. When we were waiting, we had a look at my wife's accounts and they were absolutely fine.
So here we have a gentleman that, was, just basically receiving a text at night before you go to bed and find out that there's been something compromised on his account. So now he's trying to figure out how, what, when, where, and his wife's account, is fine. So as I wrap this up, I want to just give you something to think about. Being that our world is in a situation where there's so much tension everywhere, and our monetary system is such, how can I put it? It's so questionable right now. And the whole rethinking the dollar concept is to really begin taking a greater look at, the concept of money and realizing that if it's digitally based, then and it's not like in your immediate hands right now, today as you speak, then more than likely you may not be able to get, access to it when it's most needed. And so one question I want to pose to you, what if this event here had been something like systemic, like globally systemic, to where all of a sudden all the banks, because if this bank at Tesco, their main computer was compromised, it's good to say that they're probably using the same type of security measurements that other big banks such as Deutsche Bank or Goldman Sachs or Wells Fargo, all these other banks, they probably use the same consulting firms and security firms and things like that. So it's good to say everyone's probably vulnerable in regards to being hacked and having these little small 500, as it says here, and 20 pounds here taken. And then the next question is, what if and if there is an attack of this nature on digitally based currency, what if it was all the money was wiped out? What if all of a sudden everything was just erased or just came up missing? Could you imagine what it would feel like to get a text or to get an email or to get you probably wouldn't get a call because they would have to call millions and millions of people, but to get some type of digital transaction, sent your way via text or email saying, hi there, sorry to inform you that there's been some compromise at the bank. We're going to have to shut it down. We'll reach out to you in 24 to 48 hours. And if your whole life savings is in a bank account or in some type of paper format for that matter, imagine the emotion you would feel. So I can imagine this gentleman here wasn't too happy, and being it Monday now, I'm sure his day wasn't, or his week wasn't started off on a good note like he would typically like for it to, because now he's conscious of the fact that there's a couple dollars missing out of his bank account. And this is just one incident that I think definitely is something worth thinking about, because if it happens to him and if it happens to this bank in the UK, it can definitely happen to us here in the United States and wherever you may be listening to this. So just my thoughts on this whole situation here. Share your comments below. Love to hear your thoughts on this. What are your thoughts? Is this something that's just an isolated event, or is this something that can happen, to you and I? So leave me a comment below. Hope you enjoy this. Share this with our family and friends. Help them know that if it's digitally based, it is probably not something that they can count upon when it's needed most. So enjoy your day.